Now at 9, utility officials and volunteers are hard at work trying to help residents after an EF1 tornado tears through Vernon County. Plus, with more rain in the forecast comes flooding concerns. What you need to know if your car gets stranded.
DOGE is shaking up the job market as the government cost cutting intensifies. I'm Grady Trimble in Washington. I'll have the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The process to repair and clean up is well underway, but those impacted by Wednesday's tornado in Vernon County, Missouri face serious challenges. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. And storm victims are still battling the elements as they deal with the damage. For starters, they've had to contend with more rain today, and on top of that, many still don't have power. As KOAM's Anthony Saviello reports, despite the challenges, there's been no shortage of assistance from people and organizations in the surrounding area.
Despite the wet conditions, utility crews work to restore power to those in Moundville and Nevada. Dozens of trucks working to keep the time without power to a minimum. But there are also those working to make sure no one goes hungry.
We responded down with a team of our volunteers to come provide hydration and snacks yesterday is what we did. So that's what we ended up starting with yesterday. Today we're here to provide the meals for all the residents and the first responders and the volunteers helping to do the cleanup.
And that everyone has a place to sleep.
I have a bunch of cots set up. We're doing as much as we can at the moment, especially with it just being a brand new shelter. And then foods, making sure everyone's okay, and then we're gonna start opening cases soon.
With donations pouring in from all over.
And you've seen that in this community. This is a great community. People just coming out to help their neighbor, don't know their neighbor, but they're coming out to help, and that's what we love to see.
Scott Lemaster, founder of Taking It to the Streets Disaster Relief, is also trying to make sure that those who are going out of their way to help others are taken care of as well.
And a lot of times you'll find in disasters that the first responders might be sitting on a corner, like just for instance the chief of police for Jasper was out there on the corner for 8-10 hours. And so when we go out there, we make sure that they have hydration, snacks, meals.
In Nevada, Missouri, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Vernon County officials say the full restoration of power in the county is not expected for another 2 to 3 days. And for people seeking help in Nevada, they can find it at the Nevada Community Center or the Centennial Building at the Vernon County Fairgrounds. Well, meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, we've already seen quite a bit of rainfall throughout the area just in the last 24 hours. You can see around the Joplin area, slightly less than 3 inches. Pittsburgh has about 3.5 inches of rainfall. You can see kind of that trail all the way down to Coffeyville and up to Nevada. So we've seen quite a bit. Now we are in a flood watch as well, south of I-44 until 7 p.m. on Saturday. So we've got another 36 to 48 hours more of heavy rainfall over the next couple of days into the weekend. Now we're going into a bit of a lull right now. We're still going to have overcast skies for most of the evening, and a few more showers start to pick up tomorrow morning as well, and even thunderstorms. Now by 2 p.m. on Saturday, we're still going to get a little bit more rainfall into Sunday morning, but by 2 p.m. we're seeing another 2 inches in Joplin, but the further south you go, south of I-44, another 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. Plus, we also have a little bit more of a severe threat south of I-44 as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but I'm going to have a full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, the morning rains led to some car crashes in the area. Hydroplaning caused 2 accidents in Joplin this morning. One driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Details on the other are still unknown. Both drivers were wearing seatbelts. Missouri State Highway Patrol wants to remind drivers it is the law to turn your headlights on if your windshield wipers are on. Another crash this morning turned fatal. This morning, Cherokee County authorities responded to a head-on collision involving 2 vehicles. It happened just west of Columbus on Highway 160 near Northwest 50th. Authorities determined a Nissan Xterra attempted to pass 2 semi-trucks, causing a head-on collision with a Chevy truck. The driver of the Xterra, Randy Kirkpatrick of Oswego, sustained major injuries and was transported to a Lebec County hospital. The driver of the pickup, Alan Christmas, died in the crash. Well, severe and life-threatening flooding is likely over the next few days. From 2015 through 2018, 34 of Missouri's 39 flooding deaths, 87% included either drivers or passengers in vehicles. Nicolette Zangara has what you need to know if your car gets stranded on a flooded road.
If you're driving through flooded roadways, water levels can rise quickly. And if it's high enough to keep your door closed, you need a fast way to get out of your vehicle. Window punches cost $5 to $10, but you can also rely on a small hammer. It takes some force, just be sure to cover your eyes or even wear gloves to avoid injury. Many times the driver can't see the water covering the road or realize how deep it really is.
If you're at night and you don't see the water and you find yourself in the water and you drive into it, make sure you have something to be able to break the windows.
Once you climb out, stay on top of your car until help arrives. If the car is sinking, the last thing you should do is tread through the water.
Don't cross it. It's as simple as that. If there's water going across it, you don't know what's underneath that water. It could have washed away the roadway that's underneath it. It could be older concrete, it could be asphalt, it could be gravel. And you don't know that it exists or it doesn't.
And the threat will remain, even after the rain ends.
The river's not cresting until Monday or Tuesday. So again, those waters are still coming up until that point, until then when they crest, they'll start to recede. So, I mean, as much rain as we're expected to get in the next 48 hours through Sunday morning, it's going to be pretty intense.
Well, according to the Missouri Highway Patrol, flooding is the #1 related weather killer in southwest Missouri, and flooding deaths are 100% preventable. Well, Pittsburgh police arrest 2 suspects in connection to a string of thefts, including one where the thieves were caught on camera, stealing a camera. And the crimes happened between March 28th and April 2nd. Police were not able to nail down the suspects until this video was shared. Now, it shows one person shining a light, as you can see, into the home, and the second person comes in after and steals the camera. We have more information about the crimes at KOAMnewsnow.com. The 2 suspects have been arrested. Berry County prosecutors charge a man and a woman in connection with a murder last month. Brandy Coburn of Vernon, Missouri, and Jimmy Taylor of Exeter, Missouri, are charged with first-degree murder and abandonment of a corpse. The charges stem from a death on or around March 11th at a house in Verona. Authorities say Coburn and Taylor shot Marvin Lance McCullough and then transported the body in the trunk of a car to a farm and set it on fire. The pair are being held without bond. Coming up, a White House deportation dispute.
A judge pressing the White House for answers Thursday over its deportation flights. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have the details coming up.
But up first in Health Watch, improving your odds of surviving cancer. An estimated 2 million people in the U.S. will be diagnosed with cancer this year alone, and that's according to the American Cancer Society. But new research released today suggests 4 things that can lower the risk of dying from the disease. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to the study's senior author about how to improve cancer survival odds.
It's a devastating diagnosis. Cancer can make a patient feel like so much is out of their control. But a new study suggests there are things that can be done to lower risk of dying from an obesity-related cancer diagnosis.
I think that that's a great message of not being able to feel hopeless that, well, I've had my treatment now. It's out of my hands.
American Cancer Society scientist Alpa Patel is senior author of a new study that shows 4 factors that can improve the odds of survival after an obesity-related cancer diagnosis. Avoiding obesity, staying physically active, eating a healthy diet, and limiting alcohol intake. Patel says survivors of non-smoking obesity-related cancers studied in the U.S. who mostly adhered to these healthy lifestyle choices after their diagnosis had a 24% overall lower risk of dying compared to those who didn't make as many healthy choices.
Even if you are not perfectly following these guidelines, the more you adhere to them, the better your odds of surviving your cancer diagnosis are.
Patel says that even if a person with cancer wasn't making healthy lifestyle choices before they found out they have the disease, choosing to be healthier post-diagnosis can help them.
It's a great opportunity for clinicians to reinforce to their patients, as well as for patients themselves, to know that it's not too late to start after that diagnosis.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration delays full approval of Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine, and the FDA is seeking additional data before moving forward with a final decision. Novavax vaccine was expected to receive clearance by April 1st, which would make it the third COVID-19 vaccine to gain full approval in the U.S. However, the company says it has not received any updates from regulators. This comes as the FDA's press office was put on administrative leave amid recent cutbacks at the health department. Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, a Southwest Missouri community is fed up with stray dogs running around town. And now there's a new ordinance to make a change.
Select games.
Well, we've had a very eventful week and more rainfall to go. Let's go ahead and take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We've got overcast skies for the rest of the evening and maybe an isolated shower or two, but really all the rain is going to be holding off until early tomorrow morning, looking at about 5 to 6 a.m. You can see still some isolated thunderstorms down there in Arkansas and into Tennessee, even into eastern Missouri, but we've got clear skies. Well, non-rainy skies for the rest of the evening, but that rain chance, those rain chances really kick back off by about 6 a.m. You can see the spike through most of the day on Friday. We're also going to see the chance for another slightly severe threat, but mostly staying south of us. You can see that elevated to high risk parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and into Arkansas. So Arkansas is really taking the brunt of this system over the last couple of days. But south of I-44, we've got that slight risk. Couple of counties near the Branson area, south of Monette, Bentonville, and then south of Grove, and then Joplin up to Pittsburgh in a moderate or low risk, so marginal risk of severe weather. Everyone else not so bad. Now, majority of our threat is going to be heavy rainfall with that potential for flooding and flash flooding. However, by Friday afternoon, we could see a little bit more of a severe threat. So let's walk through our day. 5:30 in the morning, few showers start to push into our Kansas counties. You can see some loud thunderstorms south of I-44 starting pretty early Friday morning. It's about 6 or 7 a.m. until about 9 to 10 a.m. on Friday. Bella Vista getting hit pretty hard, and then out there south of Miami as well. Those clear out. We have a slight lull there, still some showers, but by 10:30, 11, we go into a little bit more of that moderate to light rainfall throughout the early afternoon hours. Then we're going to start to see some isolated thunderstorms popping back up. Still widespread showers, but you can see in some of these isolated storms by early afternoon into late afternoon could bring that secondary severe threat. Now you can see north of Nevada, a little strong cell, and then again south of I-44, Bella Vista area could see another round of that severe threat, and there it goes, really popping out by 5:30, 6 p.m. And again, south of I-44, still getting a few rain showers north, but that's going to be our big threat as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Another little lull, and then by Saturday morning, another round of very heavy rainfall, and this is going to continue into the day. So it's about 7 a.m. on Saturday. This pushes all up. All of us are seeing pretty heavy rainfall, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but majority of us is going to be that heavy downpour through Saturday and then even into Sunday morning, plus the chance to see a few flurries kind of sprinkled in there on Sunday as well. Now, rainfall amounts, we already just looked at this. We've had about 3 inches in the Joplin area, another 2 inches, but the rest of us, we're seeing another inch to 4 inches possibly over the next couple of days and into early Sunday morning. Now, temperatures are going to be pretty cold Saturday and Sunday, plus all that rain and even potential for a little bit of snow flurries. Now we start the mornings off Sunday through Tuesday, very cold, and then we're back to average weather after that.
It's crazy. Flurries now. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Goodman, Missouri police want to remind dog owners they must have their best friends registered with the city. All dogs must also be current on rabies vaccinations. They also want to remind owners if you let your dogs out, they must be on a leash.
Dogs, people will let them out, go to the bathroom, they'll just run off, run free. We've had a few dogs that nobody wants to claim. Basically, we're just to a point where we can't figure out where they go. People don't want to own up to it. They don't want the citation for it. So rather than try to go that route, we'll just have them registered as the ordinance states.
Chief Atkins says the city of Goodman will be also conducting ordinance violation checks. Coming up, I'll look to the future with tariffs.
A local professor and AAA weighs in on tariff tax. I'm Lonnie Walton at Pitt State University. I'll have that story coming up.
Responders.
Well, as tariffs make their impact across the nation, what about here in the 4 states? KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke with local experts from Pitt State University and AAA on how these tariffs can affect you.
I like building stuff, and I like to see a project from the beginning to the end. So it's something like I'm passionate about.
Jorge Narvaez is a senior at Pitt State. He says he has dreams of being in the construction business one day. He says he has no worries about the economy, at least for now.
For now, I think that I'm good, but like I've heard that the job market's kind of going a little down, but for construction management, there's always opportunities.
Surely he hopes it stays that way, and so do many others. But with these new tariffs facing the nation, Pitt State professor of economics Alex Binder says he has his own fears.
Worst case scenario is that businesses facing the uncertainty about tariffs from other countries and from our own will lay off employees.
And not only that, Professor Binder says it could really affect your wallet.
The most likely initial effects are that prices for many consumer goods will go up.
And what about those gas prices in our area? That's a question for AAA spokesperson Nick Shabaria.
Price per gallon at local stations, could range anywhere from 12 to 15 cents per gallon increase as a result of some of the tariffs.
With all that information, hopefully Jorge has a backup plan.
A backup? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably just work regular construction if it doesn't work.
Will these tariffs be good or bad to our economy? Only time will tell, according to our experts. Reporting in Pittsburgh, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Professor Binder says because of the uncertainty with tariffs, it's probably not a good idea to retire right now. Well, oil prices took a plunge today. They fell 7% to under $67 per barrel, which could cause crude to have its weakest day since July 2022. This comes as an OPEC announcement that 8 of its members, including Russia and Saudi Arabia, will increase production starting next month. Analysts say this unexpected move will increase concerns about how President Donald Trump's tariffs will affect the global economy. Well, new economic data shows layoffs in the U.S. are not escalating, at least not yet. The Labor Department reports roughly 219,000 initial unemployment insurance claims made for the week that ended March 29th. That's about 6,000 fewer than the week before. Now, this overall figure, which could be revised, does not include federal workers who are separately tracked. Still to come, we look at a plan to bring fiber internet to residents in Parsons, Kansas. Parsons City Commissioners met with Idea Tech this afternoon to get an update on fiber optic internet for the city. Now, previously, fiber service was only available to businesses through Cox, but will now be accessible to all residents in Parsons. Idea Tech is a Kansas-based company already serving several communities in southwest and central Kansas, and soon both Baxter Springs and Parsons in southeast Kansas.
And we've been building fiber internet over the last 2 decades across Kansas. We're really excited to be here in Parsons to do the same thing here. I wanted to be really forward with that with the City Commission and also to all of the community that we're here to work with you guys. If there's a mess, we want to hear about it.
The Baxter Springs Chamber of Commerce held a ribbon cutting for Idea Tech on Monday. The company plans to start laying fiber in Parsons April 17th. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. Coming up, did the White House defy court orders with its deportation flights to El Salvador? And how will DOGE's massive government job cuts impact Americans? We take a look.
Big Bang Theory.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Department of Justice attorneys back in court today for a hearing on the Trump administration's deportation flights. At odds is the exact timeline of when officials push forward with a flight transporting migrants to El Salvador, despite a judge's order to turn the planes around. As Caroline Shively reports, it comes as the White House fends off controversy surrounding its approach on immigration.
The court battle continuing Thursday here in D.C. over the White House's deportation flights to El Salvador. Federal Judge James Boasberg pressing the administration for answers over whether it defied a court order when it deported hundreds of migrants to El Salvador last month. Deportation flights continued this week despite another district judge's order for them to stop. Trump has justified the removals with a more than 200-year-old law that allows non-citizens to be deported without a court proceeding. The hearing comes as the administration faces scrutiny over its immigration tactics. Last week, the Justice Department admitted it wrongly deported a Maryland man with protected legal status. The White House says they have no plans to return him to the U.S.
This was unquestionably an illegal alien. This was unquestionably a person who broke the laws to get into our country. This is unquestionably a person an immigration judge had found had zero right to be in the United States of America.
Attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia deny he has any gang ties and accuse the administration of acting recklessly and ignoring due process.
If the government can make a mistake and as long as they do it quickly enough, you have no recourse whatsoever, that's something that we should all be very scared about.
An immigration judge denied Abrego Garcia's request for asylum in 2019, but had granted him protection from being sent back to El Salvador, where he was likely to face persecution by local gangs. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Well, FEMA funds that currently provide housing and aid to migrants could be shifted to immigration enforcement. Multiple sources say Homeland Security officials are discussing the possibility. The Shelter and Services program, created in 2019, has helped cities house migrants, but its administration has changed over time. In last fiscal year, it awarded more than $640 million to states and groups. Earlier this week, FEMA notified recipients that grants would be terminated. Sources say no final decision has been made on repurposing the funds. Just how many government jobs have been cut since Elon Musk and DOGE started slashing budgets? A new report sheds some light on the numbers. Grady Trimble has more from Washington.
As DOGE continues cutting government budgets, we're getting our first look at the number of jobs being shed. A new report from Challenger Gray and Christmas shows a 672% increase in government job cuts since the first quarter of last year. In March alone, more than 280,000 government workers were let go, the third highest monthly total ever recorded.
He's a very talented guy. I love very smart people. He's very smart, and he's done a good job.
But the report also shows more than 4,000 losses in the private sector as a result of cutting federal aid or ending contracts. Many business owners say they were left in the lurch after DOGE forced their funding to dry up.
This is not a business-friendly environment. If they want to make America great again, then honor your word.
A growing number of Democrats on Capitol Hill are now calling for DOGE leader Elon Musk to justify the cuts.
Basic mistakes have been made, and that's why we need transparency. We need oversight. We really need Elon Musk to come before Congress.
But Musk's days at DOGE might be numbered. The president is reportedly considering distancing himself from the billionaire, and the White House says after his 130-day period as a special government employee comes to an end, he'll likely transition back to running his businesses.
He's going to continue to be an advisor, and by the way, the work of DOGE is not even close to done.
Job losses last month were the highest since July of 2020 in the middle of the COVID pandemic. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Lindsay's next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, many of us talk about the drowsy and fatigued feelings we get after eating too much. But researchers say the dreaded food coma is not just real, but it can impact cognitive skills, especially in students.
Well, we've had a very eventful week and more rainfall to go. Let's go ahead and take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We've got overcast skies for the rest of the evening and maybe an isolated shower or two, but really all the rain is going to be holding off until early tomorrow morning, looking at about 5 to 6 a.m. You can see still some isolated thunderstorms down there in Arkansas and into Tennessee, even into eastern Missouri, but we've got clear skies. Well, non-rainy skies for the rest of the evening, but that rain chance, those rain chances really kick back off by about 6 a.m. You can see the spike through most of the day on Friday. And we're also going to see the chance for another slightly severe threat, but mostly staying south of us. You can see that elevated to high risk parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and into Arkansas. So Arkansas is really taking the brunt of this system over the last couple of days. But south of I-44, we've got that slight risk. Couple of counties near the Branson area, south of Monette, Bentonville, and then south of Grove, and then Joplin up to Pittsburgh in a moderate or low risk, so marginal risk of severe weather. Everyone else, not so bad. Now, majority of our threat is going to be heavy rainfall with that potential for flooding and flash flooding. However, by Friday afternoon, we could see a little bit more of a severe threat. So let's walk through our day. 5:30 in the morning, few showers start to push into our Kansas counties. You can see some loud thunderstorms south of I-44 starting pretty early Friday morning. It's about 6 or 7 a.m. until about 9 to 10 a.m. on Friday. Bella Vista getting hit pretty hard, and then out there south of Miami as well. Those clear out. We have a slight lull there, still some showers, but by 10:30, 11, we go into a little bit more of that moderate to light rainfall throughout the early afternoon hours. Then we're going to start to see some isolated thunderstorms popping back up. Still widespread showers, but you can see in some of these isolated storms by early afternoon into late afternoon could bring that secondary severe threat. Now you can see north of Nevada, a little strong cell, and then again south of I-44, Bella Vista area could see another round of that severe threat, and there it goes, really popping out by 5:30, 6 p.m. And again, south of I-44, still getting a few rain showers north, but that's going to be our big threat as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Another little lull, and then by Saturday morning, another round of very heavy rainfall, and this is going to continue into the day. So it's about 7 a.m. on Saturday. This pushes all up. All of us are seeing pretty heavy rainfall, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but majority of us is going to be that heavy downpour through Saturday and then even into Sunday morning, plus the chance to see a few flurries kind of sprinkled in there on Sunday as well. Now, rainfall amounts, we already just looked at this. We've had about 3 inches in the Joplin area, another 2 inches, but the rest of us, we're seeing another inch to 4 inches possibly over the next couple of days and into early Sunday morning. Now, temperatures are going to be pretty cold Saturday and Sunday, plus all that rain and even potential for a little bit of snow flurries. Now we start the mornings off Sunday through Tuesday, very cold, and then we're back to average weather after that.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the Newton County Sheriff's Office wants to help increase awareness. Each of these pinwheels represents a child abuse case worked by the department in the course of a single year. The department partners every year with the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri. Coming up in sports, Riverton High School brings home state titles in powerlifting and archery. Plus, Fairland High School baseball faces Concord in the Lucky 7 tournament. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Route 6 party.
Let's go! Live Golf Miami.
This past weekend, Riverton High School makes a big-time splash at the state finals for powerlifting. The Rams have 3 individual state champions, Jaden Barnes, Alexa Price, and Brock Ross, while the Riverton girls win the 2A team state title.
It was pretty nice to get that. I don't think we've done that before, really, so it was nice to get to be a part of that, and we all work really hard.
Last year, I didn't really place at anything, and our girls' team I thought was a little smaller than last year, and then it was just a crazy weekend, and we pulled it through.
A lot of the guys will push each other if they were not doing heavy enough weight during practice, and during the meets, we'll push each other doing even more weight than we think we can do and getting higher place.
Meanwhile, the archery team from Riverton also brings home a state title in the bullseye division. This comes after the Rams come in second place at state each of the previous 3 seasons. Bailey Hodge is an individual state champion for Bullseye and 3D. Riverton is bringing most of its team to the national tournament in Utah later this month.
This year has definitely probably been our hardest working year because a lot of people have put in more extra hours, and we actually have more extra practices this year.
The whole team did excellent. I mean, it's something to be very proud of. I mean, taking first at state, is something to be pretty proud of.
It was awesome. I will say I did shed tears because these guys have worked so hard. They have put in hours. They have been out shooting at 9 o'clock at night, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week, some of them. So it's been great to see that pay off.
Despite the rain today, the Lucky 7 Conference Baseball Tournament gets started, and by the end of tomorrow night, a champion will be crowned. The host school, Wyandotte, faces off against Welch in the quarterfinal. We start in the bottom of the first. Runners on the corners. Jarius Robertson flies this one plenty deep enough to bring home the runner from third. He'll tag up and score. Bears lead by 1. Same inning, runner on third now, and he's coming home after this wild pitch gets away. That's Kaysen Threet who slides in safely. Bears up 2-0. Same inning, Josh Harden forces a fly ball into right, and Brody Mills ranges over to make the catch that ends the inning. To the second, Josh Harden with a strikeout that closes out the inning. Bears still up by 2. Now to the third inning, Manny Thomas strikes out the batter. That ends the inning. Wyandotte pitching dominates this one. Bears take down the Wildcats. Final score 10-0. Up next, it's Fairland against Colcord. The Hornets score 2 in the top of the first, but Colt Kinsey gets the Owls offense going with a single, and he hustles beyond first base after getting tripped up. He'll get to second after the errant throw. Now, the Owls score on an RBI ground out. They still got runners in the corners. Now, how about this? A double steal attempt from first and third, and both runners are going to be safe. Fairland ties it at 2. 2 outs now, runners on second and third. Gunnar Oakley lines one back up the middle and through. 2 more will score. The Owls are up 4-2 at this point. Now, top of the second inning, runner on second, and Carson Schurz turns around. He picks him off. Nice play there. We head to the third inning. Owls down 5-4, runners on the corners, 2 outs. Jacob Nichols smacks one to the shortstop. Tough play. He's called out, but the Owls appeal the play. It gets reversed. Fairland ties it up and then goes on to win 10-5 over Colcord. And those championship games tomorrow in that tournament, supposed to be played tomorrow evening, but with the rain, I guess we'll wait and see if it ends up happening.
Yeah, I mean, that last game looked like it was going to be pretty tight there for a while.
It was very close, yeah.
All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. It's safe to assume many people can relate to the feelings you get once a good meal settles in. But besides feeling full, researchers warn if you slip into a food coma, your brain may have a hard time keeping up. And if this happens while in school or on the clock, it could lower your performance. Sean Langill takes a closer look at the impacts and how to try and avoid them.
While a good meal can really hit the spot, when you choose to chow down could negatively impact your brain power.
Food comas can be described as a feeling of fatigue, of drowsiness that people experience within 30 minutes or an hour after a meal.
According to researchers at the Stevens Institute of Technology, the dreaded food coma is more than real, warning how it could alter your cognitive skills. Researchers cite a recent study of roughly 4,600 young people in India that examined their test-taking ability shortly after they ate. Individuals who took a test less than an hour after their last meal performed worse than students who tested more than an hour after eating.
We find that food comas are associated with, depleted cognitive abilities or reduced cognitive abilities, reduced ability to perform problem-solving tasks. Like taking a test an hour after a meal might lead to underperforming on that test.
Researchers say the negative effects of food comas worsened as questions on the test got harder, but add the unwanted effects can happen at any time of day following a meal.
We found that this effect exists at morning, but also at lunch and even in the afternoon.
Because most students at school and workers on the clock need to eat at some point in the day, researchers recommend trying to plan your meal around your mental responsibilities.
They should not take a test right after they had a meal. Similarly, in the work context, you could expect that perhaps individuals should not have important job interviews right after they had a meal.
Sean Blanchell, Fox News.
Paul Walter Hauser stars in a dark comedy based on a bizarre real-life episode of the game show Press Your Luck. And we've got a preview coming up in Hollywood Nation. A new movie opening this weekend set in 1984 is based on one of the most bizarre and infamous episodes in TV game show history. David Daniel looks at the luckiest man in America.
From Television City in Hollywood, it's time to press your luck.
Paul Walter Hauser stars in The Luckiest Man in America.
Man, I drive an ice cream truck. I love the show. I've probably seen every episode.
I like the guy. Stories like those are why America loves game shows.
At the outset, I was like, oh, this kind of feels like a quirkier version of quiz show. And it's and where I find quiz show very easy to believe, this feels kind of hard to believe. I couldn't believe it actually happened.
What happened was Michael Larson kept winning and winning.
I'm going to keep going.
16,000.
Pass, man. Mathematicians are giving me 6 to 1 odds.
What's wrong with this guy? Keep going.
He's gonna go. Stop! $24,000.
Again. We have a problem. Somebody didn't vet this guy.
Director and co-writer Samir Oliveros says the film explores 4 questions.
What is he doing? How is he doing it? Who really is this guy? And then why is he doing it?
Just find out who this guy is. Are you doing something wrong?
It's like the synthesis of the American dream. You have one day where everything can change.
It's a lot of money. Do you want to spend and risk losing it all?
I said again, it'll never be enough for him. He's a never enougher. You couldn't give him any amount of money that would matter because he's chasing a thrill.
You just made more than anyone in the history of game shows.
Luck is just a good excuse to do nothing and then hope that an opportunity comes a-knocking.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a baby hippo making her outdoor closure debut at the Metro Richmond Zoo in Virginia. How cute. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.